Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another weekly update on news and information about DCS World. I'm your host, of course, Prickly Hedgehog. Tune in now as we talk about the F-14A. Yes, it's here. You saw it at the beginning of the video, and I'm excited about this. I know a lot of you probably aren't, and a lot of people have even questioned why we have the F-14A, and we're going to come back to that topic in just a little bit here. But remember, we also have a sale going on right now, 50% off on some modules, 30% off on others, so that's exciting. We also have the damage model for the World War II Warbirds. That's available now in open beta as well. It's been pulled out of just accessible in the multiplayer client. Well, now it's available in open beta, so that'll be good news for you. Plus, there is a raft of other changes as well, which came down the line on Wednesday as part of that big patch, which of course, it was larger, I think, in part because of the F-14A. So let's start with the F-14A. I'm going to start with a little bit of a caveat, because as I said, not everybody necessarily understands why the F-14A is even being introduced. And I think it's a multifaceted issue, this one. And I think in part because we've been spoiled with the F-14B, people are questioning why Heatblur would bother with an F-14A. And I think historically, you need to remember that the F-14A was numerically the superior aircraft, not superior in terms of its engines or the avionics and all the rest of it, but numerically it formed the backbone of the Tomcat fleet right up until retirement in the early 2000s. Remember that not every airframe received the GE110 engines. Not all of the airframes received the cool stuff that they threw into the F-14D. These were relatively limited numbers against the backbone of the fleet. So the A, even though it has kind of a bad rep, particularly in DCS for some reason, I get the impression sometimes people think that it's just a pile of junk and that the engines were so unreliable that they had to put the F-14B engines, into them to make them the aircraft even flyable. Well, this is not the case. Remember, it was performing quite well, albeit a little bit underpowered, albeit a little bit fuel efficient with those Pratt & Whitney engines, but it was still a very capable aircraft. So in other words, the reason it's in the game is, one, for historical reasons, and two, because it's going to provide a challenge to pilots looking to compensate for those idiosyncrasies associated with those Pratt & Whitney engines. And we're talking here a little bit of a lack of power, potential compressor stalls and other maintenance problems that it sometimes had. But this did not mean that the aircraft was so useless that it wasn't flyable unless you had the GE110 engines in. And I think that's what the impression I get sometimes from DCS players is that it's unflyable, and it was a waste of time. Not the case. So what have they said here? Well, there's some really interesting things here from Heatblur and Eagle Dynamics. So remember that the F-14A was the first fourth generation fighter aircraft. Obviously, it needs little to no introduction, even though I gave it one at the beginning. It was introduced to a widespread audience early on and has been admired ever since. We all love it from Top Gun. We all know it. We all recognize this aircraft. Now, it had remarkable capabilities, both in air-to-air and air-to-ground roles, which made sure it remained in service longer than its successors, and it's still in active service today in a greater degree or lesser degree with the Iranian Air Force. And its fame, in part because of Top Gun, is unparalleled and presents sheer excitement and tough challenges to its pilots. Now, again, that tough challenge thing there, I think, is one of the reasons it's in the game, because I think there's a lot of virtual flyers out there that are looking forward to wrestling with the idiosyncrasies of those Pratt & Whitney engines. So there's that. Remember, too, that the A model, a lot of people assume, again, that the B variant was the Bombcat, and therefore that was the one that did the the air-to-ground rolls. But the F-14A actually did air-to-ground rolls as well, and there was an interview with Grim Reapers recently where Dave Bio-Baranek talked about that, and even Cap was unaware that the A variant was capable of doing air-to-ground. So there's a lot of misinformation, if you like, or in some cases just some general knowledge lacking with regards to this aircraft. And I certainly don't pretend to be an expert on it. What little reading I have done on it and picking up from pilots like Paco and Dave, who have been interviewed recently, this aircraft was actually pretty capable, even though there were some quirks and idiosyncrasies with these Pratt & Whitney engines. All right, so the good news is this. As they have continued with the journey of building the most well-known and certainly the most iconic variant of the Tomcat around, they've been continually reevaluating what the goals are with the A and what they wanted to achieve. Based on this process, they've ended up expanding the original scope and will be shipping additional F-14A variants in the coming months. And these include, the following: the F-14A 95GR early F-14A for the Iranian Air Force. Now, these jets are going to have certain limitations and modifications, such as the lack of TCS and fuel pylons. So that's cool. In addition to that aircraft, we're looking here at the F-14A 135GR early variant. This will be an earlier representation of the F-14A. It's going to be equipped with the ALR-45 RWR and will also come with a number of minor variations such as early gun vents, alternate defog systems, and other minor differences between late and early ALR-45 equipped F-14As. Lastly, talking about the F-14A 135GR late variant. Now, this version represents a later ALR-67 equipped F-14A. On Wednesday, or November 18th, we saw the release of the ALR-67 equipped F-14As 135GR late. Now, while this represents a closer analog to the current F-14B, it also allowed us to roll out the F-14A in a controlled stepwise process. The ALR-45 equipped F-14A will not be far behind, which will not only introduce more significant changes in cockpit avionics, but it's also going to allow them to implement the full overhaul of RWR and EM spectrum emissions upgrades planned for both the ALR-67 and ALR-45. In addition, Wednesday's patch also included the introduction of yaw strings and a complete sound overhaul, among many other items. There is a video for the sound which I posted on my channel about a week or so ago, plus there's a changelog, and we're going to talk about that changelog here just a little. It is pretty extensive. I don't want to go through all of it, but this is with regards to the F-14A and B, and I think it's important to bear in mind. Now, we've talked about this a little bit here, but the TF-30 engine model includes the following things: mid-compression bypass circuit, a Mach lever, the expanded compressor stall model, which is pretty sophisticated stuff, the hydromechanical fuel control, new thrust model, new engine spool dynamics, new afterburner model, updated logic for the nozzles, and of course, as mentioned, the new audio. And what they've done here is they've reshaped the engine nacelles, added new nozzles, and they've also added new A-specific liveries. We're talking here the VF-21 Freelancers, the VF-111 Sundowners, and the VF-154 Black Knights, the VF-211 Fighting Checkmates as well. Now, as mentioned, I talked about this, the complete external sound overhaul for the TF-30 and F-110 engines. They have entirely overhauled the F-14's exterior sound set, which includes the following changes: new rear aspect exhaust sounds, new intake sounds, new afterburner sounds, new flyby sounds, new engine fan blade rattle sound at slow windmilling speeds, afterburner zone lighting thump, that's internal, fixed the stall warning tone and new audio sample for the internal, new compressor stall sounds, tuned the engine start and idle sounds, adjusted all SDEF files to improve directional sound and audible distance, complete overhaul of audio driver logic on the code side, various other common sound fixes. So the sounds now load quicker, the Tomcat is no longer unbearably loud at idle and at distance, reduce the total number of sound samples being played in an external view. They've also added the following: added simulated yaw string, which we just talked about, the A and B models with corresponding wind simulation, new fire compression system and keybinds, new mid-compression circuit bypass circuit breaker keybind for the F-14A. They've added afterburner gate option and keybind. They've added new gesture features, which includes the Joker callout and the Bingo fuel callout. And then there is an extensive list of changes, which I will not go through, but things like the adjusted F-110 afterburner thrust below Mach 0.7. They've added, obviously, quick missions for the F-14A versions in Caucasus, Persian Gulf, and Syria. The F-14B fuselage nacelle area for more roundness and visual fidelity has been changed. Fixed the TF-30 oil overheating. They've painted the air brake pistons white. There's just about a dozen or 2 dozen or so changes here. Like I said, just too extensive to go through them all, but cool stuff. All right. This is a significant introduction. I mean, this is why Heatblur was taking such a long time. The care and attention to detail, the quality of their models are outstanding and arguably right up there with Eagle Dynamics' F-18C, of course, and obviously the A10C2, which has been fantastic as well. So we've got some real quality aircraft to fly in this game, and I think the addition of these extra modules just sweetens the pot so nicely, and I have to congratulate Heatblur on what they've done, because it's a fantastic product, and I'm really looking forward to spending more time in the F-14A, because it's been a blast thus far. Okay, let's put that aside for a second. We have one more thing about the F-14. I'm not sure how many of you are involved in this kind of thing. Let me know if this is something that you enjoy. But Livery Challenge, right now, in association with DCS Livery Art Group, there is a livery challenge for the F-14 Tomcat, and winners in each category will have their submissions included in the official release for the corresponding DCS module. There are, of course, conditions. You'll need to check those out for yourself. All right, so that's the F-14A out of the way. For now, let's talk about the autumn sale here. Now, 30% off the following things. They're proud to announce the DCS World Autumn Sale. I know some of you were worried that you weren't going to be able to gather ye modules while ye may, because the sale didn't come through at a convenient time. And some people ask me, is there going to be another sale? Well, yes, there is. There's an autumn sale here, and I would imagine there'll be something later in the year as well. What that will entail, I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, for now, we're talking 30% off the following modules. The P-47D Thunderbolt, of course, the channel map, the FA-18C Hornet, and of course the F-16 Viper. That's a great deal. If you don't own the Hornet or the Viper and you're kicking it around, well, here's a good incentive, 30% off. The exceptions here, of course, the F-14AB Tomcat will have a 15% discount, and that is still a very good deal considering how many airframes you get with the purchase of the B. So again, I wouldn't snort at that. If you've been kicking it around and you're not sure, and you've always wanted the Tomcat, well, again, I'm recommending it. The JF-17 Thunder will only be $64.99 or $65 therein, give or take. Modules, unfortunately, that are not participating in the autumn sale, of course, are the A10C2 Tank Killer. That had previously been on sale, and you needed the original version to get that. The Super Carrier, the Syrian map, of course, and these new campaigns, the Raven 1 campaign and the MI8 TV2 Crew Part 1 campaign. Sadly, those are not on sale. Now, the Thunderbolt will soon be released to stable version, meaning this is your chance to take advantage of the early access discount and the autumn sale for a combined 30% off the Jug. The dive model flaps on this aircraft used for faster pullouts during dive bombing and when in compressibility have been added to the flight model. The water injection system has now been implemented to maximize the power output of the R2800-59W engine. Forced water injection causes the turbocharger pressure to increase and actuates a de-enrichment valve in the carburetor. When water is injected, the fuel-air ratio decreases. This provides fuel economy without the risk of detonation. That's nice. Our ongoing work on the new damage model has led us to tune the durability of certain structural elements. This has improved G-load overload limits when the aircraft is damaged. So some good stuff there. Now let's talk about the changelog, which is the last thing here, really. It's massive. There's a good list of things. Like I said, the F-14 received the bulk of it here, but in addition to a couple of things, obviously there was changes to DCS World and AI aircraft, for example, on Persian Gulf, Al Dhafra AI, they got stuck on 31L landing strip. That's been fixed. Mission editor, they've added logbook options to the customized menu. They've fixed some stuff with the Harrier. Let's have a look at the new damage model. The new damage model, as I said, is turned on by default for World War II aircraft now. Calculations based on internal structure added to the World War II bombers, and not registered damage to the landing gear is fixed, so that's cool. There was changes here to the DCS 101 Avio jet by Avio Dev. Quite a list of changes there. And things like improved smoke system, improvements in the fuel system, synchronized parking brake handle in the multi-crew, fixed animation of clock needles. So again, a whole bunch there. Several fixes to the Harrier, of course, and Raspberry actually announced that there was a short campaign that has been, I think it's only 4 missions right now, but they are going to expand it. So they have actually added a campaign to this aircraft, so that's really cool. They are working on a lot of projects, as usual, Razbam, and I'm still waiting to hear more from them with regards to some of their modules. Like, for example, we've seen quite a few shots of the English Electric Lightning, which some of you are not all that thrilled about and others are very interested in. We're still waiting for the F-15A to supplement the multi-cockpit aircraft that we have, or multi-crew aircraft that we have is probably the better term. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, I'll update you as much as I can. So the campaign that we're talking about here is the Ottoman Courier campaign by Baltic Dragon. So it will be good. I don't know anything about it yet, but let me know if you're interested in that or if had a chance to have a look. Changes, of course, to the JF-17. Changes to the China Asset Pack, just a couple there. Several changes to the A10CT. I can't get this right. I keep going A10CT, and it's AC-10C2 Tank Killer. Ha! It's a long video this week. Okay. Several changes, of course, to the HMCS TDC. And I won't go through all of these, but they've added 3D model, added name change and texture mapping to the for the pilot. Removed unnecessary arguments on the second LOD. Helmet systems hangs after pilot ejection, and they've corrected some pilot textures as well as a bunch of other bits and pieces. Very cool. The Hornet, of course, they've added the air-to-ground mode for the helmet-mounted queuing system, which Wags did a video on earlier this week, which is very cool. They've completed the HUD TD designation logic. They've added GBU32, GBU31V2 /V4. The HUD TD diamond was not ground stabilized. That's been fixed. They've adjusted the AIM-9 family missiles drag. They've got here laser guided bombs crossed out in the HUD, but not in the DDI if the laser code was not set. Gear lights seem to have too much bloom. That's been updated. There's no reticle on the HUD for the walleye. It's been corrected. Updated the Chinese flight manual. So again, another cool set of changes for the F-18, which is really coming along. I have to say, it really is up there now with the A10C. 2 in terms of its level of complexity, layers, and general coolness. They've done a nice job, I have to say, Eagle Dynamics on this aircraft. And I know, admittedly, it's been a long time coming, but it really does look great. A couple of changes, of course, to the F-16. They've added pylons mass accounting to the flight model, and a lot of people have asked about the flight model still not being quite right, and various bits and pieces on that. So yeah, stay tuned. Of course, it's a work in progress. We know that, and it will continue to be that. We've had it for, it's hard to believe now, we've had it for over a year, I think now, and it just seems like yesterday that it was introduced, but it hasn't. It's been a year. I guess that's just the nature of this year. But anyway, some cool stuff there going on with the Viper, which continues to receive love, which is good. A couple of changes to the F5E, change to the Albatross. They've fixed the animation of the pilot's hand in the rear cockpit. They've fixed the altimeter in the Huey, which I'm sure Huey pilots will be very happy with. We've already talked about the Thunderbolts. They've added night vision goggles to the AJS-37. So that's cool. And we've already talked about the F-14, so we can skip over that. A couple of changes to campaigns here. The Raven 1 campaign, they've made some changes there, and also the Enemy Within by Baltic Dragon. So, as I said, Baltic Dragon has done some really good campaigns. I'd imagine that the Harrier campaign will be equally good as well. So, lots of cool stuff. All right, well, this has been a very long video, and I want to thank everybody for sticking with it. A lot of changes this week, primarily associated, of course, with the F-14A, which I think is fantastic. So we'll leave it there. Again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for the likes and subscribes. The comments have been fantastic. It really helps the channel chug along. It really does. You have no idea. So keep doing that. Stick around for more. As more becomes available, I will continue to update and continue to bring you videos where I can. For now, this is Prickly Hedgehog out. We'll see you next time. Carry on flying and stay safe out there, everybody. Prickly Hedgehog out.